Alright, you weave dashing hooligans, I'm going to show you guys how I use Skarlet in neutral and just how I use her in general. So let's just get right to it. So the first button I throw out when I'm like going back and forth all the time is her down 3. Her down 3 is ridiculous. It has ridiculously good range. It got so much better now, it's -7. And like there's just so many ways that you could like walk up and then throw it. You could wait for your opponent to come in and just stick it out and they'll get hit by it. Like when I'm waiting for my opponent to jump so I can go for an anti-air and they don't, I'll just stick it out and I'll clip them. Now when you clip your opponent, what I always go for is in my standing 1. Either my standing 1 or I'll grab them. The reason why I go into my standing 1 is because I'll stagger the shit out of it. It's only -1, so I'll do stuff like this, boom, and then go into that. Go into my plus frames. That's always really good. Not only that, I'll do this standing 1 short hop. I'll do this standing 1 step back, throw that button. So you have really nice options off of this poke. Not only that, but you can also go into your plus frames. But one thing that I find myself like that happens a lot, I'll land it all the way over here and like it'll whiff, you know. So it's just much easier. You can literally walk up. If you land over here, you can walk up and throw your standing 1 because there's enough time for your standing 1 to gel. It's just such an easy gel is what I'm basically trying to say. So that's why I use this button. I could use it in the back, I could dash up. It's just a really good button, especially now. That being said, the next button is kind of similar, is this one. This is just a monster of a button. Her forward whip is just, I could dash up and throw it. I could step back and then catch you on the way in. And there's just so many like nice mind games off of it since there's parry cancels now. I've been abusing the shit out of the parry cancel, not gonna lie. Like one thing, I'll do this and then I'll go into something like that. I'll go into do that, dash up, and then let me show you, boom, and then go into a double low. Not only that, I'll do that, and then I'll cancel it and I'll walk up grab because they're expecting boiling point. There's really nice mind games off of it now, especially that there's customs. So this is just a really good button. You can dash up and throw it, and you can step back and catch them on the way in. It's really good. I've been using it a ton lately. You can go for overhead. It's really nice. It's a really good button if you ask me. The next one is basically how I like to press my opponent, is the forward 4. It has good recovery off the first hit and the second hit. Well, God, it has so much range, right? Yeah, the second hit is 21, so I like the recovery on it. It's cool. It's just literally I'm stepping back and forth and all of a sudden I just press them and just go with the button. It's just basically to go forward, or you could even use it, you know, to make your opponent whiff. Just go back a little bit and then get them. But I really like to use it just to all of a sudden go in on my opponent and just start pressuring them, from just rushing them down. This is what I like to use to get in on my opponent. And then you can also do stuff like this and then, you know, kind of mix it up right there. Or you can do stuff like this and then whatever. There's lots of shit you can do with it, but it's mainly to go forward or get that little baby whiff and then go in. It doesn't have the best range, like compared to this, you know, Skarlet puts herself in danger. This one, she's not putting herself in danger. So just be mindful. I like to do a little back and then go. I don't like to go too back and then go forward. It's like, you know, it's not like this one where it's like, you know, you see, it's just much better just going back a little bit and then doing it. So it's a really good button. You're just pressuring the shit out of your opponent. Next button I want to talk about is probably Skarlet's best button, in my opinion, is this bad boy right here. There's just so many mind games to it. I want to keep it short. One thing I do is condition my opponent for that second hit. Like things I'll do, I'll walk up, throw that, and then I'll walk up, grab them, because they're just like, oh, I'm gonna get hit by this second hit. Instead, they get hit by a grab or a step, boom. I'll step back and let me show you. I'll do something like this and then go for an overhead. There's just so much range that you're demanding, boom. Like right here, step back, and then boom, and then go for the overhead. Or then I'll do 1-2. They're not expecting it. Step back, sweep, or 1 sweep. So you could really play this get in and get out mind game with it. And then, especially on wake up, I like just throwing it and just whiffing it on purpose and just walking in and grabbing my opponent, or just doing that, do a jump in or step back overhead, or like 1-2, step back, that. And not only that, you can do that and then set up your forward pressure. That's another good thing I like to do. But my favorite setup with Skarlet with this string is doing this and then going to this low. Doing that right there. It is very unsafe, but there's space in between us. Sometimes I don't even get punished. But not only that, but you can be completely safe. You could do this, boom, and go into that, or you can go boom, cancel, then go into an overhead, or you can do this, boom, and then go into your forward pressure. It's just literally fucking up the timing of your opponent. So it's a really good button. This, I never use it in neutral. If you guys see me use this in neutral, I probably haven't been playing Skarlet in a long time, which is like right now. There's no reason to use it. This button is just so much better. This is all her other buttons are so much better. This button to me is literally all about stepping back, or like staggering it and stepping back. Like, get comfortable doing this right here. Like, get comfortable backdashing and going into it. That's what this button is for, in my opinion. There's no reason to throw this button out like that. There just really isn't. Unless on wake up you want to just throw it out or whatever, but I just much rather do that, you know? And then, yeah, and not only that, but since there's parries now, you could add a move that really hurts your opponent. Like, you could do stuff like this, or you could just have your opponent deal with this. Like, do they really want to get hit with 22% off of one hit? That's wild that you can do that. Stuff like that. I do this shit all the time. Not only that, but you know, if they're expecting the boiling point, you can just walk. There's so many mind games to it, so there's that. The next one is a button that I kind of abandoned, in a way, using it neutral. Back then, I wanted to get better at using highs and actually make them useful instead of just throwing mids all the time, which is Skarlet's side kick, high kick. I used to use this in neutral, and it was really good. Like, has really nice range. I really like the range on it. But it is a little difficult move to use in neutral, not gonna lie. It's just really good at whiff punishing. It demands space. Like, sometimes the way I like to do it, I'll boom and just demands it, and if they block it +6, it's such a good button. I need to start using it again. I always forget to use it in neutral. I mainly use it off of gels or like my forward pressure, and then I'll go into it. I usually set it up or whatever, but in neutral, I think it's a really good button to use. If you start getting the hang of it, you're gonna get benefit from it. Like, it's really nice. The recovery is whatever, it's decent, but it's really good. Whether it lands or whether your opponent blocks it, it's just a really good button, if you ask me. The next two, I would want to say, you know, the overhead. I just use it like a monster. I just dash up and just throw it. That's the way I used it, to be honest. I'm not really stepping back and doing that unless it's on wake up. I'll do that, step forward, step back, and then I'll throw it. Same thing as a sweep. With a sweep, I actually use the opposite from the overhead. I'll step back and then throw it and catch my opponent in, or I'll step up off of a stagger and then whatever. But I'm mainly backdashing and throwing the sweep, just making it feel super long. Like, the range on this sweep is ridiculous. It really is. It's such a good sweep. And another thing with Skarlet is you're gonna want to knock your opponent down a lot. That's something you're gonna want to do. There's a lot of setups with her blood ball and with this guy as well, and tongue. So you're gonna want to be using this button a lot, and her overhead as well. It's just, I use it to get in on my opponent, and I use this one to catch my opponent on the way out. But you could, you know, switch it vice versa or whatever. So it's really good. The last one I want to talk about is just kind of like what's her face? Frost's back one, I want to say. God, it's been a while since I used, or back two. And that's this bad boy here. It's just, Skarlet does not put herself in danger. She sticks a button out, and if you do it, it has nice range and it has a crushing blow. And not only that, but like, it can be used as an anti-air as well. And if you land the anti-air, it's gonna be a crushing blow. So crushing blow, anti-air. So like, let me show you. Just like that. It's very wild. Now, since you have cancels, you could go into your forward pressure by canceling off of it. It's a good ass button. Like, literally stepping back and then throwing it, or like one setup I'll do is that, and then boom, go into something like that. It's a good button, just literally stepping back and just making your opponent whiff completely. So those are the main buttons I use with Skarlet, and that's the way that I use them personally in neutral. It's basically about just finding what, you know, like not combinations, but like what staggers and what moves you feel comfortable throwing in neutral. Those are just the ones that I do. If you're just learning Skarlet, I would just recommend getting comfortable throwing this move and this guy right here. Like, those are probably the main two you're gonna want to get good at neutral. And when you start closing in, you start getting your forward pressure and stuff like that. Don't always rely on your sweep and your overhead. I would not recommend that, even though lately I have been using my overhead a lot. Yes, they both have great ranges, but it just, if your opponent starts guessing right, it could be a long night for you, and it's just not gonna be a good time. So just keep it simple, do stuff like this, and then also this button as well, and this one. And then when you close in on your opponent, use this button, your forward pressure, stuff like that. So yeah, I'll back. Deuces.